Namaskar, warm greetings from DELNET Developing Library Network, New Delhi, and BITS Design School, Mumbai, India. Distinguished speaker, Mr. William Nixon, Deputy Executive Director, Research Libraries, UK, London, Dr. Manju Kalita, Head Librarian, BITS Design School, Mumbai, Shri K. Kumar, President, DELNET, Dr. S.S. Murthy, Vice President, Dr. P.R. Goswami, Treasurer, DELNET, the heads of institutions, Dean Research, eminent librarians, library and information science professionals, IQAC heads, faculty, researchers, scholars, students, the officials at BITS Design School, Mumbai, and at DELNET New Delhi, and also its coordination units at Bangalore and Pune, ladies and gentlemen. I, Dr. Sangeeta Kaul, Director DELNET New Delhi, on behalf of DELNET and also BITS Design School, Mumbai, takes profound privilege in welcoming you all who have joined us online from various parts of India and many other countries across the globe, including Bhutan, Greenland, Kazakhstan, UAE, and USA, to the session on research landscape in UK, which will shortly be delivered by our distinguished speaker, Mr. William Nixon. We are much grateful to each one of you for your very overwhelming response to today's webinar. At the very outset, on behalf of DELNET and also BITS Design School, we would like to express our sincere gratitude and thanks to our most distinguished and luminary global speaker, Mr. William Nixon, the Executive Director, Research Libraries, UK, London, who have been very gracious in accepting our request for his intellectual presence with us today. We remain ever grateful to you, Mr. Nixon, for your very stupendous support in making it possible for us to organize this webinar on a topic which holds a great relevance for each one of us. We are extremely honored with your presence. Thank you so very much indeed, Mr. Nixon. Thank you. It is much heartening to note that United Kingdom ranks 5th among the 133 economies featured in the Global Innovation Index 2024. The Global Innovation Index ranks world's economies according to their innovation capabilities, consisting of roughly 80 indicators grouped into innovation inputs and output. The GII aims to capture the multidimensional facets of innovation. As we all are very much aware with the fact that research is a key to innovation, and today we have with us a highly seasoned expert who will be deliberating on the research landscape in UK, which has immensely contributed to its most impressive standing in the Global Innovation Index. We would also like to thank the BITS Design School Mumbai for collaborating with DELNET in organizing today's webinar session. My very special thanks to Dr. Manju Kalita, the head librarian, for her support. May I have a pleasure in now requesting Dr. Manju Kalita to kindly introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. William Nixon. It's over to you, Dr. Manju.
A warm welcome to everyone. It's a great honor and privilege to welcome a distinguished guest who has been at the forefront of shaping the future of research libraries and their evolving role in the academic and digital landscape. Please join me in welcoming Mr. William Nixon, the Deputy Executive Director of Research Libraries in UK. Research Libraries in UK is a consortium representing the leading research libraries across the UK and Ireland. It plays a vital role in advancing the capabilities and influence of these libraries within the research and academic communities. Mr. William, as a part of this esteemed organization, has a deep interest in the digital shift, the transformative changes brought about by digital technologies, and in understanding the skills required to harness these changes effectively. He is particularly focused on the role of research libraries in supporting open research, emphasizing the importance of repositories and open access in democratizing knowledge and accelerating innovation. In addition to this work on digital transformation, Mr. William has a keen interest in leadership and the evolving roles research libraries play, not just for researchers, but also for the staff who support them. His insights into these areas have been informed by illustrious career in academic libraries, including his role as Assistant Director for Academic Engagement and Digital Library at the University of Glasgow. There, he led the college librarian teams and managed the institutional repository services, enlightening while also providing invaluable support for the UK Research Excellence Framework 2021, a key initiative in evaluating the quality of research in higher education institutions. Having joined Research Library UK in January 2023, Mr. William continues to contribute to the transformation of research libraries, ensuring they remain vital in an ever-evolving academic environment. His vision and leadership have inspired many to rethink the future of libraries in the digital age. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. William as we look forward to learning from his expertise and insights today. So, Mr. William, over to you. The floor is for you.
Thank you so much, Manju, and thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And thank you and hello to everyone who is joining today. I am very humbled and privileged to have had the opportunity to talk with you today. And really, I am very excited to share a little bit about the research landscape in the UK. And thank you for that lovely introduction to Research Libraries UK. What I really wanted to talk about today, I'm going to say a few things about Research Libraries UK itself, a little bit about our strategy and where that sits, a little bit about UK research, the landscape, some of our funders and partners, including bodies like JISC, the Research Excellence Framework, which may be a little bit like NERF, a little bit about scholarly communications and open scholarship, and then what could be some of the opportunities and challenges for us as research librarians and research libraries around that. So as Dr. Kalita had said, Research Libraries UK is a consortium of the leading and most significant research libraries in the UK. We have 39 members. That also includes the National Libraries, the British Library, the National Library of Scotland, and the National Library of Wales, as well as universities like Glasgow, Edinburgh, Oxford and Cambridge, but also more recent members such as the University of East Anglia and Lancaster University. So I think this is an exciting time for the research library and for scholarly communications. It's also an increasingly challenging time, particularly thinking about the current global situation, thinking about the economic challenges which we face, but it's incredibly important to think about how we can collaborate and engage. And we convene our 39 members around these 4 pillars, thinking about how we can convene, bringing them together, how we can represent them. Nationally, I'm delighted to be representing RLUK today, to DELNET, how we can continue to support them and how we can advocate for activities and work which we do and support them on their behalf. I wanted to say a little bit as well about context. Our RLUK strategy is currently called Transforming the Library Transforming. It runs into next year and it outlines the way in which RLUK can harness the collective voice and the experience and expertise of our members and how important it is to support them as they face the current challenges around the research library and the work within research. So one of the things that I really love about the strategy is this fantastic provocation, which I actually also believe is true, is that research and the research landscape is impossible without libraries. And libraries bring the world's scholarship to researchers. They provoke and inspire. They enable that research. Critically, they connect, but they also let us disseminate and share some of the outcomes and the features from that. So Research Library UK's strategy is aligned across these 5 strands, and I'm going to touch on some of these during today's presentation. The role of the research library, the digital shift, open scholarship, the importance of culture and heritage, and our collective collections. And Cutting across all 5 of these strands are 3 cross-cutting themes on equality, diversity and inclusion, rights, copyright and licensing, and infrastructure. And the cross-cutting themes are really intended again as a provocation and an opportunity for us to think and work differently, around how we can inform and how we can engage colleagues and stakeholders across the research landscape. And we feel that this combination of headline strands and cross-cutting themes really enables us to proactively work with our members to transform our collections, our services and our operations, and really contribute to that evolving research landscape. But they also provide some flexibility during what are increasingly uncertain times, and they provide us with a bit of a North Star in terms of the dedication and the decisions we make around our resources, experience and expertise. So one of the things that is absolutely critical in the delivery of RLUK's strategy, and where we really can slot into and impact the UK's research landscape, is through our networks and groups. I'm not going to go through all of these, but we have over 270 of our members who work across these peer professional groups. These are forums and discussions for sharing and development, but they are also critical to the engine and the delivery of our strategy. So they include sort of digital shift, new directors working with our associate directors, thinking about digital scholarship and sort of open strategy. So these are all absolutely vital in terms of how we engage and how we work with our members and how we really drive the strategy forward. But I wanted to pick out a couple of things about sort of the strategy and where we sit within the landscape. And I think what we think about when we think about the role of the research library, which is, I think, one of the foundational pieces of our strategy, is that role of libraries as laboratories, places of and spaces of multidisciplinary experimentation, this physical space which we can explore, and we have done through a number of our programs. How we can be partners and pioneers, how we can not only just support the research landscape, but we can be proactive and active participants in undertaking that academic research, how we can bring the unique skills of library staff and our expertise to support original scholarship, practitioner research, how we can inform our own practices and what we do, and how critical we are, and we see this with our members, where we are central to communities, the importance of civic engagement, being at the heart of local, regional, national and international communities. The opportunity today to talk with you in DELNET is really critical around that we are a global research community. And there's some points here, some of the partners across the bottom, some of the areas that we work in around responsible metrics, partners with other bodies within the UK's rich research ecosystem. I am very involved in the digital shift, which is the rapid evolution and diversification of digital technologies. We launched a manifesto in 2020 looking at 2030, a 10-year sort of roadmap and challenge around how we can make this shift, the importance of moving between analog and digital, the move within digital, and also the move to be ethical and equitable in our shift. I'll talk a little bit about our Digital Shift Forum, a session like today, which is freely available and open to all, and how increasingly important artificial intelligence is, how we can support and deal with that around our current environment. So our Digital Shift Manifesto, as I say, has a number of elements, thinking as well about the work of DELNET, thinking about the importance of digitization, collaboration, interlibrary loans, thinking about what that shift digital within digital and equitable looks like. And we scope this into a number of kind of different dimensions, which we have identified as skills, spaces, stakeholders, and scholarship. And really, it's critical for us to use this as a lens to think about ways in which we can engage with digital scholarship tools, thinking about the infrastructure and so on. And later, I'll talk a little bit about some of the work which we're doing around a new digital content creation group. So we currently run a Digital Shift Forum. This is one of the earlier events which we had this year on the state of open infrastructure. We're focusing on 3 themes at the moment. We had a session at the end of October focusing around institutional repositories and on a panel session. We're really interested in how we can realize open. We've had a couple of speakers reflecting on the overall open infrastructure which we have, and also what we're calling new digital frontiers. So again, thinking about AI, thinking about the role that we can play around prompt engineering, around the content, around the material which we have, the ethical and sort of trust issues which we might have. Just wanted to highlight, this is one of the recent talks. This was one at the beginning of December, thinking about the open source movement and AI. And I just wanted to highlight here, because all of these presentations from the Digital Shift Forum are available at this web address. We have a Digital Shift Forum player. We record them all, and they are all available for everyone to access. So you're welcome to join at the session, but they are also available for you to pick up and collect as well. But thinking as well about where we can contribute to that wider research landscape, the collections held by our RLUK members, together with other memory institutions across the world, like India, provide that interconnected network of scholarship. Scholars and students navigate this network to get the full range of material. And here we're thinking about challenges around kind of print storage, challenges around reading and publishing, space program, thinking about our buildings, thinking about that relationship between our analog collections, our hard copy collections, digitization, the access, how we develop those, the importance of bibliographic and metadata for engaging and discovery around our collective collections. And we're, it's very exciting for us to start looking at, our distributed kind of print book program, thinking about opportunities which we have where we perhaps have many multiple copies of material, and are there opportunities at scale to think about rationalizing some of our material and being able to further take advantage of progress within interlibrary loans around interconnectedness of our collections. I also wanted to draw attention to culture and heritage. Our research libraries at the forefront of engaging large and diverse audiences with the acquisition, curation, presentation, and use of our rich collections. We are increasingly here in the United Kingdom working to try and be more inclusive around those. We've formed a decolonization group within Research Libraries UK. We also run a very popular seminar series called Inclusive Collections, Inclusive Libraries, in order to really help to open up those global discussions around our content, our collections, and our material. I'm going to point to a virtual reading room toolkit, which we've developed as a result of a global sprint. And also we partner with institutions like the National Archives. So I just wanted to draw attention here to this community-driven toolkit for the delivery of virtual reading rooms. These very much were developed during COVID. And what we wanted to do was to bring together colleagues with expertise in this area to really share how we could share some of our experiences and also opportunities for how we could further support people developing those. What does it look like when you're developing it, delivering it, how you sustain it, and so on as well. So again, this material is all available on the Research Libraries UK website and is freely available. I've mentioned the inclusive collections, inclusive libraries. We've just finished the current series, and again with that URL, that address there, all of these, like the Digital Shift Forum, are freely and publicly available, and we invite you to both join us as a participant, but also very interested in discussing with you opportunities to contribute to that as well. And it's important for us to also kind of partner. We have a number of fellowship schemes, one of them particularly within the Research Library and within Cultural Heritage, we have with the National Archives in the UK, so enabling staff from both organisations to work across organisations and to learn from each other to really strengthen and diversify the relationships between them. And RLUK is part of a group of global organisations, including Australia, the American Research Association of Research Libraries in the United States, and Canada and Europe, and really delighted today to be talking with colleagues through DELNET and really having that opportunity to share some of our work and some of our reflections. So thinking about the UK research landscape, I think it's fair to say it's quite complex and overlapping. We have a number of kind of key contributors to this. We have funders, we have universities, we have funding bodies like the UK Research and Innovation, we have charities and trusts like the Wellcome Trust, who play a significant role in research funding. We have partnerships with industry, the importance of commercialization, of patents, of spin-out companies, and so on, and the importance of international collaboration, not only within the UK, but where we can continue to be again involved with Horizon Europe, the importance of bilateral agreements and global networks and how they can impact the UK and our research landscape. So I think it's also important to note that in July 2024, we had a new government. The new government has a number of clear missions around growing the economy, our National Health Service, opportunities for all in terms of skills and support, looking at ways in which we can break down barriers and leverage the opportunities and the power of universities and skills and research, and how we can make Britain a clean energy superpower. And I think I mention these because it's important for us to set that within the context of where things are in terms of our engagement with our funding bodies and what works and is important for them. We've talked a little bit about UK funding bodies. UK Research and Innovation is our main funding body, and it invests in research and innovation to enrich lives, drive economic growth, and create jobs and high quality public services. And it has a number of councils here. Point in particular to the Arts and Humanities Research Council, who we partner with in our fellowship scheme, but also the importance of Research England, who are tasked with running the Research Excellence Framework to benchmark the UK's and universities' research outputs and impact. But also there are other funding bodies like the Wellcome Trust, who support discovery and research into life, health and well-being, and the Leverhulme Trust, which is an independent charity to fund blue sky research and into sort of scholarship, which has the potential to generate new ideas and research breakthroughs which fund society. So what does that mean for us as research libraries? So I think it's important to reflect that in terms of the for us in Research Libraries UK, we did a scoping study with the Arts and Humanities Research Council, and that really was focused around the expertise held within libraries and associated collection holding institutions to lead and partner in research projects, and also to look at how we could champion the contribution that libraries make to the research process as enablers, partners, and leaders of research excellence. And in our Library Transforming Strategic Plan, we pledged to work with our members to support and advocate for the role of the library as active participants. So we've created a number of sort of fellowship schemes. We created a research engagement program. We signed up to the UK's technician commitment. And really, we have been active in championing the role that libraries can play around that, striving to bring greater recognition to the wealth of expertise, skills, and insights that libraries can offer. So it's really, really important to us, not only as supporters and facilitators and custodians and curators of content and collections, but where we can actively participate in that material. So one of the things that I've been really excited to work with in recent years has been our research engagement program. So this includes professional practice fellows, as well as a training program for research librarians in order to support them to help to develop their capability, their capacity, and their confidence in applying for grants, in applying for funding, and looking at how we can work with them in supporting practitioner research in particular. And we have nearly 50 colleagues now in recent years who have been through a mix of our fellowship program and also through our Research Catalyst cohort program. But I also wanted to think about other partners and stakeholders who we have within the UK. A very important one is JISC. So within the UK, we have sort of national negotiation strategies, thinking about big deals and those relationships, thinking about futures and open scholarship. So we have a content negotiation strategy group. And as we go into 2025, we're starting to look at negotiations and the big deals with publishers and so on. And we do this at a national level, and we do this collectively and collaboratively. And I think that's really, really important. I also wanted to highlight the importance of things like the National Bibliographic Knowledge Base, the NBK, which also provides tools like Library Hub Discover, enabling access to over 200 UK institutions in terms of content and specialist and national library catalogues. So it's really important to think about these partnerships and how this library hub can give researchers and library staff access to that wealth of data. And beyond that, thinking of the digital world which we live in, JISC also have a digital transformation toolkit, which is supporting the development of digital strategies, thinking about the assessment of digital maturity, thinking about what that looks like across the organization and creating actionable roadmaps, thinking there about strategic vision, people, infrastructure, and core businesses. And I think what's really exciting is that at the beginning of this month, they've now started a digital transformation library lens project. So co-designing a new tool with our UK community based on the GIST digital transformation framework to enhance libraries' role in digital transformation. So it's really thinking about the pivotal role that libraries play within higher education and within the research landscape. They're often at the forefront of digital innovation, leading initiatives in digital content, in open scholarship and digital learning. But also perhaps sometimes that contribution is not always fully recognized or understood within the institutions. So it's really it's really important to think about what that digital transformation really looks like. And this is about how we can demonstrate and amplify their role and our role as a knowledgeable and trusted partner. And I think trust is so important in that space. So thinking there about open scholarship, we have a strand around open scholarship. We're thinking there about scholarly communications, thinking about the importance of open research, but also thinking about rights retention. So, you know, the UK has over 270 institutional repositories. We are in the midst of a shift towards greater openness in research. I think it's important to say it's not just about the research outcomes and access to those outputs, but it's also where there have been significant moves within different disciplines and how we can support some of those changes. Earlier this year, JISC also published a review of transitional agreements in the UK. This highlighted the open access growth in the UK and the cost savings, but it also highlighted the challenge that the conversion of subscription journals to full open access has been quite slow. And at the current rate of transition, it could take over 70 years for major publishers to transition their titles to full open access. So I think that really gives us an opportunity and a challenge to think about what that landscape looks like. So thinking again about that, we think about the importance of rights retention. Rights retention policies are increasingly important here in the UK. More than half of our research libraries UK members now have rights retention policies. I presented at the Open Repositories Conference in Gothenburg earlier this year, also to think about rights retention and the role which repositories can play. There's a really interesting symbiotic relationship, I think, between rights retention and how important our institutional repositories are, and then underpinning those, digital preservation, supporting those, and so on. So that wider infrastructure that we can provide. Again, we've worked with JISC, doing some work around that, looking at how we can adopt and manage institutional rights, how we can really start to share some of our local experience, our local expertise around that, where we can share some of the material, some of the content around that. And I think it's really important that we have a safe space and an opportunity to share some of our experience around this. So it's been really valuable to be part of this group. And I think what's really important, this is a boat on a beach in the north of Scotland. And I think for repositories and rights retention, I am a huge believer in what we call raising all boats. It isn't just the research intensive universities that it is important for the rights retention to be part of the experience. It is critical that all of our institutions who have research, who have content, are empowered and are able to do this. Because when we raise all boats, both as a national community, but also talking with yourselves as DELNET and across India, where we can raise all our boats as a global community, I think is absolutely critical. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the big drivers of the UK research landscape, and that's the Research Excellence Framework. This is the results of the 2021 Research Excellence Framework. You can see here there were 157 universities assessed, nearly 2,000 submissions. And this slide really just highlights questions such as why do we need REF and how important REF is, and REF is financially very important for the UK research landscape. It was used to inform the allocation of nearly £2 billion in public funding, which I believe is around 214 billion Indian rupees. But also how we can use it to benchmark and establish reputational yardsticks, thinking about institutional strengths and larger sector trends. So the last REF was in 2021, and there is going to be another Research Excellence Framework. It was pushed back to 2029, and there have been a couple of changes to that. And there's a very strong focus increasingly in the UK around people, culture and environment. And this has been expanded to include 25% of the weighting of the institutional responses. And really that's about driving that shift in research culture. It's about that engagement in recognizing wider roles. So the contribution of research outputs is now 50%, and then there is an environment element as well, thinking about sort of the impact and the case studies and how that will look. So just at the end of last week, the REF 2029 open access policy was refined and published. And I think it's two things I really wanted to draw attention to here for colleagues. One, that there's no mandate for monographs in the REF 2029. Long form outputs are not in scope. So I think they are part of UKRI's requirement, and there is a monographs requirement for funding for UKRI funded material in the UK, but they've decided not to require open access for long form outputs, and that's something which will be picked up after the REF, but it is something that we really want to engage with now. I think also they noted that they do believe that the outputs of publicly funded research should be freely accessible and widely available. Open access and to research brings huge benefits to researchers, to students, to institutions. And the policy seemed to work very well in 2021, and it really has demonstrated that high degree of compliance, and really they want to build on that. And that's where I was looking at the Leiden rankings. You can see many UK institutions, particularly by proportion of research outputs which are open access and open scholarship, are available in those institutions. But it's not just the REF itself There is a body called the Hidden Ref, which RLUK has supported, and it is about celebrating all research outputs. One of the interesting challenges for the Research Excellence Framework is it is very much focused on particularly more traditional outputs, journal articles, book chapters, and monographs. But what the Hidden Ref seeks to do, and now have funding to support from Research England, is recognising all staff, and this includes librarians, staff working in research offices, technicians, and it is about a much more inclusive research environment and a much more inclusive research culture, which seeks to recognise the contributions of everyone within that wider ecosystem. And I think what this was a really interesting article I kind of read kind of earlier on in the year from a colleague, Elizabeth Gadd at the University of Loughborough, and the importance of kind of research culture. And yes, research culture is part of the Research Excellence Framework 2029, but it's important to recognize that really this is also a long game, and we need to be thinking beyond 2029. And the research culture itself, there is no quick fix. So it is about thinking about the incentives, the environment, the staff that we that we employ, and so on. So I just wanted to highlight some opportunities and challenges in this final portion of today's session. One of the areas is around digital content creation. So thinking about how critical it is that we can further surface and make available a lot of our content. So we have convened a small task force within Research Libraries UK, and we're looking at these 4 areas which are aligned with our strategy, which we will recommend to our board, and which I think help to bring us to bring colleagues together, thinking about best practice around digitization and digital transfer projects, creating digital content, how we continue to improve access to that content, how we can engage communities and co-create some of that content, thinking here as well about maker spaces, coding rooms, the work and the role that libraries can play in this space, and also where we can work within open resources, open practices, what workflows and changes do we need to think about making. We are also looking further at AI, looking at a discipline-specific AI project, looking at developing, because it's become very clear that beyond more generic support for AI, it is important to think about discipline-specific case studies and to look at academic support. So opportunities to partner with researchers to work with them in developing and supporting the content. And we have also looked at the importance of AI literacy, the importance of critical skills, of thinking about provenance of trust around AI, thinking about what that looks like in terms of a session we did in this here was around adversarial AI, work out of the University of Chicago, thinking about tools which can support protecting copyright and the importance of artworks and other material, which I think is also important, thinking about our own digitized collections and us taking control around how they are used and how we want them to be used, and also different ways in which we can engage with AI in the education space. And then also thinking about a task and finish group focusing on cyber resilience. We're mindful that the British Library had a cyber attack. There's an importance at an institutional and a national level thinking about cyber, but it's really important to also think about that library lens and how we can support and look at the work around that. And then I've talked a little bit already about encouraging a research culture as a result of REF, but also thinking about our Libraries Times research project and thinking about how we can also encourage our research culture. What are the awards and recognition? How can we promote our libraries' expertise? How can we collaborate and foster those relationships and create a supportive environment? And one of the ways I'm really excited to look at how we do that in the new year is a new program which we've called Research Shift, and it builds on the capacity, capability and confidence around the work that we were doing with our partners, with AHRC and with the National Archives, but also extends that to think about what does it look like building a community of research practitioners? What does the culture look like? How do we overcome the structural barriers, which are perhaps a challenge for research librarians to undertake research? And how can we be as diverse and as inclusive around our work? And last but not least, I would like to extend an invitation to you all to join us at the RLUK 25 conference in Liverpool. Champions of Knowledge, Libraries as Beacons of Trust and Integrity. This is our first in-person conference since 2019, and it will run at the end of March next year, and we will make available the link to the registration, but you are warmly welcome to come and to join us in the UK, and we look forward to meeting with you. I would like to say thank you again to colleagues at DELNET for the opportunity to present today, and I really wanted to say thank you so much, and I hope this was useful and of interest to you all, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Nixon, for a truly an empowering and an enlightened presentation, making us all acquainted with the research landscape in UK. And within a short span, you have been able to really take us around and making us all acquainted with the best practices being happening and how this entire research landscape has been taken to a greater heights in UK, and many takeaways from the session. And I think each one of us are definitely going to refer to the Research Libraries UK site and to refer many of the documents that you have cited, whether it was a digital shift manifesto that you referred, and even this research culture that each one of us being librarians also we have to immensely contribute towards it. And some of the upcoming practices, this AI literacy skills, as you have very aptly pointed it out about this this prompt engineering, which is again it's a new skill set. I think the librarians have to really acquire and make our researchers to know about it, that how to really navigate through this in the era of AI. And we are very delighted also to see, and we feel so very happy that you have been able to bring through this platform today also many opportunities to collaborate. So this connection definitely we strongly feel is going to build up strong partnerships in the days to come. An organization like DELNET, which is immensely been working for past 33 years in a country like India, the single largest network of more than 9,000 institutions and the leading research institutions. I would also like to share with you through this platform, Mr. Nixon, that we have developed and very recently has introduced a new portal called GRIP, and it is Global Research and Innovation Portal, which contains the details of the research work being undertaken. On the similar lines, what we have, the REF, Research Excellence Framework, We also have got in India the NRF, National Institute, National Institutional Ranking Framework in the country, and whose task is to, do the ranking of the research institutions to the academic institutions also. And we are bringing through this platform the best of the global research which is being undertaken, which is a great boon for researchers and scholars. So through this presentation, we have been able to really see that there are many common grounds, and many possibilities to collaborate. And we would be very happy and delighted. And you have also informed, because we do have a fairly good number of researchers and scholars, besides our librarians who are there in this forum today, in this platform, even some of the scholarships which are being offered. And many of them, would really be happy to really know more about it. So you are certainly going to get more hits coming from India, post this, such a wonderful, deliberations. And it was truly an eye-opener on many fronts, because this is how the partnerships has to happen. The connections are being there, we have been able to establish, but I think we have to take it, to the next level by undertaking some of the collaborative programs, and that would be, it's like a global sharing of knowledge, as you have mentioned about this upcoming conference, which is going to happen in March. And I think many of us from India would definitely be a part of it. So we, on behalf of DELNET and also BITS Design School, wholeheartedly, remain grateful to you for your time and efforts in making us acquainted. And we really would like to, ensure that we are able to work together on many of the various fronts and on many of the horizons, which will really bring, the libraries of the two nations together, researchers and scholars, for the global community of researchers. We should be able to, constructively contribute, also being, working together. So thank you so very much, Mr. Nixon. Truly remain grateful to you for your time and efforts. And we could see that we have made a new beginnings today. And definitely an organization like DELNET would like to, bring our researcher community more closer to the work which is being undertaken in UK. And from India, we would like to assure you that as you have mentioned about many of these services which are being already offered through RLUK, we'll be happy to see if we can engage in some, in some discussions that how we as a network from India can supplement, our researchers and scholar community, and likewise how our Indian scholars, can get benefited, from the resources, and not only simply the resources. We as library professionals has to act more as a bridge. Act as a bridge, and then bringing, the researcher community and the nations together. So thank you so very much. Truly remain grateful to you. And at the very, we would like to, on behalf of DELNET, would like to firstly, before I make the floor open for questions, we would like to present this memento to you, Mr. Nixon. And this, we would send it across, to you, and we would be really happy that next time when we connect, so in the backdrop, if this has a position, we will feel truly delighted, So this just-studied elephant from India coming all the way and to take a position somewhere in the workspace of yours. So this is to sincerely, express our warm gratitude to you for your very, very kind intellectual presence with us. And we have really felt so very happy that we have been able to make some new beginnings with infinite possibilities. And we really look forward. We simply look forward to that. So thank you very much once again, both on behalf of DELNET as well as on behalf of BITS Design School. So thank you very much. With your permission, we could see we have 10 minutes. I know that you are starting the day. It's a fake end over here. It's around it's 3:54 here, and your time would be it will be 10:24, 26, 10:24, I believe. Yeah, 10:24. So it's 10:24 London time. Yes.
Yep.
So with your permission, we would like to have a quick questions coming from our attendees, and I would appreciate your being there with us for yet another 6 months time. Yeah, Mr. Nixon, with your permission, can we do?
Well, I would be delighted.
Perfect, great.
My thanks to you as well for hosting. It has been a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. We felt, really honored, to have you with us today. So we are making the floor now open for questions, and we have got 6 minutes with us. So requesting our colleagues, please raise your digital hand, and you would definitely be wanting to establish a connect with our distinguished speaker. I would just like to take a question from here. This is being posted in our in the messaging, and this is for you, Mr. Nixon. One question coming from Terence Rodriguez, who is wanting to know, so what are the opportunities for postdoc studies in library and information sciences in the UK? The postdoc studies, and do we have any fellowships being offered for that? For perhaps he's wanting to ask if we have any postdoc fellowships in the field of library and information sciences in UK, and are there any fellowships being offered, for that?
So there are a number of library schools within the UK. We don't explicitly at the moment have any fellowships for kind of postdocs, and our fellowship scheme, which we ran, was intended for professional librarians, which we within the UK. So that's not something that I am immediately aware of, but
So Nixon, we can definitely explore more about it, some of the schools like, who can be. And this is a question, second question coming from Dr. Rashmi Kumbar, and who is wanting, and I was also I got inquisitive when you mentioned about it. And this is the virtual reading rooms, and Dr. Rashmi Kumbar is wanting to know that, could you kindly elaborate more on the community-driven virtual reading rooms, and can we access this VRR toolkit? And what is it all about?
Yeah, so the virtual reading room was really intended. It evolved during COVID as an opportunity to buy digitizer and other material to enable special collections and culture staff to make available remotely. So they would get the manuscripts, the material, they would be placed under the digitizer, the researcher could make an appointment, and they could remotely see the content. The librarian would turn the page as well for them. There would be an opportunity for them to look, to have access to some of the material without physically having to visit the site. And what we had done, we did this in partnership with some of our other organizations, and the toolkit, which is, as I say, when I share the slides also have a number of links to a whole variety of resources, including the reading room toolkit. It really gives people an opportunity to think about what are some of the issues that need to be considered, what are some of the technologies, how could that work, and where do they sit in your traditional visits versus being able to do things remotely. The most exciting thing as well that can come of virtual reading rooms is bringing together content from different institutions. So thinking possibly about India and being distributed, the same in the UK. You may have different copies of the same material held in held by different institutions, but through the virtual reading room, you might be able to access all of the different copies remotely and to look at some comparisons and do some work without having to physically visit them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nixon. Just a quick question to you, and this is with the back, in context of, because in India recently the government has done the licensing with the major leading international publishers, and we have one nation, one subscription, which is now getting implemented, and it's a huge amount, which is now the government is going to pay for on behalf of the institutions, especially the government funded in the first phase, and definitely it's going to get extended to the other institutions. In light of this, just would like to know, whether RLUK or in a country like UK, have we also initiated, are there any kind of early steps towards this direction for the national license for the e-journals content, for any of the digital content?
So there has been a lot of national negotiations and national deals which have been done over the years in enabling access to content within the UK. I'm not aware that there has been a global, a global subscription to some of these within the UK. It's down to individual members to decide which publisher deals they will go with, but through bodies like GIS, we do negotiate at a national level in terms of what would the deal and some of the costings look like in order to provide us with access to that material.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nixon. And one question, to you, because I could see that you are also being associated as a member of COIR, the Confederation of Open Access Repositories. And how do you foresee, because all of us, whether it's from the developing countries or otherwise, we all really want to embrace and adopt the open mantra, whether it's the open technologies, the open access, the open publishing. How do you foresee, where do we find ourselves as librarians, as library professionals, whether as a producers of information or as in consumers? How do you foresee, what is the future that we hold for open access, keeping in view also the publishers, the concerns on this, the new models which are now coming onto this new landscape? How do you foresee another 5 years from now, where this publishing, the publishing by the leading publishers versus this open access, what is the kind of development or the possibilities that you see in the next maybe a decade from now?
So that's a very big question. Yes, I think you'll continue to see that repositories play a really critical role in that. I think, as I mentioned in the presentation, rights retention is incredibly important as well, being able to realign that relationship between the researcher and the publisher in terms of their research. There's also an exciting opportunity for libraries in open access publishing and in diamond publishing. So some of our members, we have open access publishers. There's the White Rose Press within the UK. UCL in London has been a very powerful publisher around kind of monographs. And recently in Scotland, there's a Scottish University Press as well, which is looking at publishing those. And some of those are being very much championed and partnered by, and run by libraries. So I think the repositories and the publishing systems, I think, are really, really important to really help to balance, to kind of redress the balance between the publishers and that. But I think rights is really critical in there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nixon. The last question to you before I request Dr. Manju Kalitha to give the concluding. And this is just to ask you for this RLUK 2025 conference. Is it going to be in hybrid or is it only in person?
No, it's only in person, but we are recording all of the sessions. So the sessions will be freely available after the session, and I can share with you links to the conference.
Perfect. So, and we'll be happy to let our Indian colleagues here to know about it more, and we would be happy to share that. Yeah. And with your permission, we would like to seek your permission because we would like to put the entire deliberations of this webinar, it's such a wonderful talk by yours, on the YouTube channel of DELNET. So can we request you to provide us a consent for the same so that we can do so?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Nixon. Thank you. Now I would like to request Dr. Manju Kalitha. This is for you, Dr. Manju. I would request you to please unmute yourself, and though we are not able to see you, may I request you to kindly give the concluding words to today's webinar session, so wonderfully being deliberated by Mr. Nixon. Yes, over to you, Dr. Manju.
Yeah, Dr. Sangeeta, I'm sorry that my technical issue, I'm not able to everyone. So I'm just want to thanks Mr. William. It was the session was truly insightful, and it was valuable experience to know your research landscape ecosystem you made available in your libraries. It was like really appreciable that 200 plus libraries getting support and working together to enhance your research sector in the country. And I feel proud to say that DELNET also providing this kind of facility, especially the interlibrary loan for 9,000 plus libraries. Even I made available several times this facility, helping to our PhD scholars in many different institutes. I work with them. And also DELNET to provide, conduct some events like this is the session, one of the session that collaboratively with the partner or the member libraries. So your the main points you see that collaboration, how important the collaboration plus the align the libraries with the government mission. That's really important. And also you say that you're celebrating or demonstrating your, the research output, what is the impact of your service is very important. I feel the all participants, the allies professionals are taking away kind of positive vibe, which will give them a thing to more collaboration, working together to enhance a research sector. As we DELNET also providing us, so we'll think more about collaboration. Really, it was nice to know the system that people are working and getting advantage. So thank you very much for giving your valuable time. Also, Dr. Sangeeta for giving us the platform and bringing Mr. William to this platform to sharing his experience. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much to our audience also, Mr. William and Dr. Sangeeta. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Manju, for this wonderful collaboration. We truly have appreciated that. And this is a world of connections, and it has to be taken to collaborations, more meaningful collaborations. And that we have witnessed today, having Mr. William Nixon. And this is just a beginning now, Mr. Nixon. This is what I would like to say from India, that we would like to partner with the RLUK under your, able leadership. We would really like to see to it that in the days to come, we can build up some strong partnerships, which are really would play an important and a crucial role in bridging up the libraries and in providing a wonderful support to our researcher communities, as we are firmly are the believers that we have to serve our library services to our global users. The researchers has to become global, the libraries have to get into the global mode, and we are all, each one of us, I think, on this platform would firmly believe that we work and we believe in the borderless society, and we have to see to it that we are able to, bring the libraries together and make, their paths more illuminated by providing more connected services. The services which doesn't really have any endorsement of the geographical boundaries. So we have to look beyond the boundaries and making our collections and connections more vibrant and more meaningful. So thank you very much, Mr. Nixon. We have truly admired your being here. We cannot really thank you enough, and we have really barged in. We can see that 8 minutes more we have taken than what we had requested, and this is all because of such a remarkable, a marvelous presentation of yours and the work that you are doing it. We truly have admired, the spirits also behind, and we really look forward to having many more, not only the collaborative programs, but on the ground, to do some constructive work, and bringing the researchers and scholars more closer their works. And it's like healing, the society by providing more network resources and services to them. So thank you so very much, Mr. Nixon, once again, and on behalf of each one of us, the organizers, as well as each one of our attendees who have been able to join, we remain truly grateful to you. Also, we thank all our colleagues who have been able to join, not only from India, but from many other countries, for being such a wonderful part of today's webinar session. We really look forward to having you back again. And also, we look forward to having many more programs with Mr. William Nixon and other colleagues from RLUK to join us and having some good, dialogue, the Indo-UK dialogue, on the emerging library landscapes and how we can work together in more collaboratively. We look forward to that. So with this, Mr. Nixon, a warm gratitude to you once again. Thank you so very much. Have a very wonderful morning. You have already now started, the day and the workspace. And thank you so much, for giving so much of time, and your efforts, they truly remain much praiseworthy. Much grateful and much obliged. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for the privilege.
Would you
And
like to? Yeah.
Have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Nixon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, each one of you. We would just like to mention that the entire video recording of the session would be made available by tomorrow noon. And also the certificate of participation you'll be receiving in yet another 1 hour's time. So thank you very much. Thank you. And I would also like to thank my own colleague here, Mr. Kushal Giri Goswami, Mrs. Ranjana, and other colleagues who have been of immense support in organizing the DELNET webinars. We have truly admired and appreciated your being here. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Nixon. Stay happy, stay blessed, do stay connected, and we look forward to having you back again soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manju. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Have a nice day. Yeah, thank you.